Hey. Welcome back, everybody, to Bad Film Good, the podcast where we look at poorly rated movies and we ask the question, what's happening? Is this happening? How is this happening? What on earth is happening right now?
Here we go.
My name is Declan.
We're never going to get it. Never.
Nope.
I made it.
Never gonna get it, never gonna get it.
Never gonna get it.
What is your name?
Aiden.
And today we will be looking at the film The Happening.
What's happening?
Wait, huh?
Wait.
What's happening?
What's happening?
Sorry, hang on. Okay, this is happening.
I'm so out of breath. What's happening? Oh my god.
Is that possible? Okay.
What's happening? I'm in the happening. Oh god.
What is happening right now?
Anyway,
Aiden, why don't you tell us what is happening in the Shrekking world this week? What's happening to Shrek this week?
What's happening? Shrek porn.
Yes! Finally!
We've been waiting for
it.
So this
brilliant.
is an article.
Send us some links. I mean, sorry.
Yeah,
tell us what's happening.
I'll put the pictures up on Instagram. So this is an article from Pedestrian, and it says, "Please enjoy worst pieces of Shrek porn I've been sent after making one stand-up routine about it."
Amazing.
So this is by Patrick Marlborough. I assume he's a comedian. I just thought it was quite funny. "I've seen things you people wouldn't believe. Shrek performing Analingus on Donkey, Fiona lesing out with that big dragon. I watched Lord Fartford hanging from cuffs in a tortured dungeon, laughing manically while the gingerbread man sucked him off. All those moments will be lost in time, like tears in a swamp. Time to die." What I'm trying to say is, I've been overexposed to Shrek pornography. Earlier this year...
Is there such thing as overexposed?
Yes, you mean underexposed, I think.
Yeah.
Earlier this year, I performed an hour-long comedy show as part of Perth's Fringe World Festival. Blah, 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 blah. Earlier this year, I performed an hour-long comedy show as part of... Fucking hell, man. It's because... The article,
all the Shrek porn is just getting...
in the article, he's put Shrek porn in it. So as I'm reading this, it's just like fat, naked Shrek with his like uncircumcised cock just staring me in the face.
Oh, no. Why is it in the article?
Because
he doesn't
we'll get to it. We'll get to it.
Oh, hello there.
That wasn't me. That was me. My fucking cock. It speaks.
My bare cock.
So basically, he says he was doing it.
Get out of my swamp if you know what's good for you.
Get out of my swamp or get in my arse.
That's going to be the name of it. The title of one sex tape.
Get out of my swamp.
Get out of my swamp or get in my ass. Oh.
I knew this was a bad idea. So basically the story is that the whole gag is he's doing a PowerPoint presentation as his comedy routine, and spliced in between the slides is like his character's beloved Shrek porn collection.
Amazing.
You know, like classic thing. He goes on to say, "My producer, oh god, Michelle, I'm so sorry, and I spent a chunk of unpaid time curating the choice cuts of Shrek smut, and then had to perform alongside it while audience laughed at its novelty." And What began as a simple running gag became a months-long slog of submersion into the most graphic and most sexual content made by man.
Fucking hell.
This meant spending a tragic amount of time on DeviantArt and similar fan art-heavy forums where the world's skeeviest individuals put forth poetic tracks about why Shrek is and or is not daddy, and why they must draw him pregnant with stinky feet while having its tits sucked by Robin Hood.
I think he means Mr. Hood.
And he's included... It goes on to say, here you go, here's the worst Shrek porn I've been sent. And yeah, I won't post these on Instagram because we will definitely get banned. But he's included a lot. And he's also included some quotes from DeviantArt. You know how people can like leave comments under the...
Right, sure.
Thing. And here are some. One says, inflated Shrek just sends me. The idea of that of that belly getting bigger. Oh my god, no. I want to drool on it. Yum! I drew...
Hey, look, but disclaimer, you know, we're not kink shaming anyone.
No, we're applauding this is my kink. I'm kink sharing.
How do you think Aiden found this?
Yeah, this is my article. What was it?
He browsed your DeviantArt page.
What was his name? Scott Tobias or something? Patrick Marlborough. I'm Patrick Marlborough. Made up name, definitely. I drew Donkey wounded, desperate, begging for help, with glass in his hooves. He's crying while Fiona sucks his cock.
It just goes 0 to 60.
Because he knows it's wrong, but it's curing his pain. And then, wow, so hot. Nice job. You totally captured his predicament. Imagine...
His predicament?
This is my favourite. Imagine fairy godmother used magic to make her toes real long so she could wrap them round Shrek's massive hog.
No.
So yeah, people keep sending this guy Shrek porn. And if you'd like to send him Shrek porn...
Shrend him.
If you'd like to shrend him some Shrek Shrawn, find him at... Trying to find his fucking thing.
No, you're going to say at Bad Film Kid.
Yes, send it to us.
You're just trying to collate.
Send it to us and we'll make sure he gets it.
Please don't send it to us. Send it directly to Aiden, please.
Send it to Scott Tobias.
Yeah.
Just don't send it. Don't message him or anything. Just find him on Instagram and on Twitter, and just no context. Send him Shrek porn, and then like a question mark, like,
Yeah.
This one?
Is this going to sway you?
Yeah. So that's
all right.
I knew that was gonna be a good or bad one. Depends how you look at it.
It's gonna just send me.
God, I'm so horny.
Let's just pause the episode for a minute.
Anyway, what's happening?
What is happening this week? Well, we are looking at The Happening. We're going to hear that amazing joke every 5 minutes, probably, about what is happening this week. Yeah, well, I mean, so that's what's happening. Thanks very much, everyone. We will see you next week. And that's everything. No,
all right,
so where do we watch this, Aiden? We watched this on weirdly on Disney Plus, right?
Yeah,
Disney Plus Star. Yeah. What do you call it? Do you say Disney Plus Star? Disney Star? I think maybe. Either way,
it doesn't fucking matter. As long as you pay me money.
Give me all your money, bitch.
Can we give Scarlett Johansson that? No,
fucking no.
She ain't getting an ounce of this money.
Anyway, moving swiftly on.
Anyway, put The Happening on Star.
Do it now.
That's real cinema. Anyway,
I wish I could do Daffy Duck. Daffy Duck?
Daffy Duck?
Yeah. Unrelated, I just wish I could
just do Daffy Duck.
I wish I could fuck Daffy Duck. Forget Shrek. Oh, on Daffy Duck.
Oh my god, this intro's taken like 5 years. Right. Disney. Do you know what? Since it's Disney, I'll say it in a Mickey Mouse voice. So Disney, the synopsis for this, for what is happening in this film by Disney, goes like this. A paranoid thriller about a family on the run from a natural crisis that presents a large-scale threat to humanity. Oh.
You're so good at it. It's so funny.
Bring me a goddamn beer.
Get Scarlet out of here.
She's on the door again. Keep her away from Black Widow.
Or get someone else.
I hope she fucking wins. I don't know if it's still. I'm assuming it's going to be going on for a while, but I hope she wins.
Yeah. They've got enough money.
Stick it to the mouse. Oh, right. Yeah, that's... talk us through this film, Aiden. What's happening?
What's happening in the happening? What's happening?
It starts scatting.
The
scat. No, it's the scatting in between the sections. Yeah. From last week. To the next section. Right, we need to keep on track. We're just going to lose people.
It's going to be like 4-hour episode.
Yeah, fuck.
So basically, clouds for 5 minutes. Then everyone stops walking and decides to kill themselves. Then Marky Mark starts telling kids about the B movie.
I've called him Marky Mark as well.
So Marky Mark's teaching a class about the B movie, and then he hits on a child. Anyway, Mark Wahlberg moves in with Luigi's friend's mum, but on the train, they have to get off the train because they're not allowed on the train anymore. They just get off. They say, no more train, get off. So they all go to a bar, but then, for vague reasons, everyone runs away. So Mark and Zooey Deschanel get a ride with a nice man, and Sid the Sloth goes on his own way and kills himself. So Marky Mark walks into a field and then works out that the plants are actually terrorists and that they have to run away from the wind.
Goddamn America.
They go live in some crazy woman's house for a bit, and they're all very scared because of the wind. But then it turns out that everything is fine because for no reason at all, the trees decided not to kill everyone anymore. Then it's revealed that the whole film took place in a day. That whole thing happened in a day. So Mark Wahlberg and Zooey Deschanel bang to celebrate.
Yeah. And then France.
Yeah. Yeah, and then France does it.
Yeah.
There's a sequel. It's The Happening in France. The Happening goes to France.
Le Happening. Le Happening.
Le Happening.
I mean, I don't know how you say happening in French, but...
Yeah, that's it. We got it. Don't doubt yourself. So it was made in 2008, directed by the one and only M. Night Shyamalan.
This came out the same year as The Dark Knight. Can I just point that out?
It did. And that is quite impressive. We'll get into it, but that's insane. So directed by M. Night Shyamalan, it stars Mark Wahlberg, Zooey Deschanel, Steve Buscemi, and John Leguizamo, however you say it. You might recognise him because, played Luigi in...
because all of these films are in the same universe.
Yeah, so this is Luigi.
It's the Bad Film Good universe. So this is Luigi, like, he's graduated as a plumber, and he's gone on to do more things with his life. Him and Mario are slightly estranged at this point.
He's like, oh, Mario, I want to be a maths teacher now. I love percentages. That's my character trait.
Quit busting my balls already. About plumbing. It's like, Luigi, you gotta be a plumber. You can't fix a pipe with maths.
You fucking idiot. Yeah, he's drunk. Luigi's not even there. He's talking to a wall.
Oh, no, that's sad.
Anyway.
It
had a budget of 48 million and it made just over 163 million, which is astounding.
Really?
Why? Who gave M. Night Shyamalan money? Who did it? Right, I'm looking at... Put your hand up. We're looking at you. This is your fault. The movie Old is your fault.
Yeah.
It got 5 out of 10 on IMDb, 17% on Rotten Tomatoes, and 34 Metal Crickets liked this movie. Look, if
That's quite high amount of Metal Crickets.
I'm a big Hollywood producer, right? And Christopher Nolan comes up to me. He's like, look, I've got this amazing film. It's a sequel to Batman Begins. It was really popular. It's called Dark Knight. It's going to be highly regarded as one of the best films ever made.
Yeah,
look, I don't want any of that. Here's 48 million. Make me some horrid shit.
Okay, right. So I've got an idea for a film for you. It goes like this. You better be nice to those trees, folks. Just like Marky Mark does, or they will make you suicide. The movie.
Sold!
So
This'll make money. Oh,
I should have just the pitch me this now should have just been the fucking thing from the top where I'm like, what's happening? Who's happening? How are we happening? Is this really happening?
What's happening? What's going on? Right, should we just get into it? This is going to be a long episode.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I try to cut down my notes as much as I can. So there's so many moments I paused and I was like, what?
Yeah.
What is happening?
Yeah, literally. Sometimes I try not to pause the film so much anymore because I'm like, well, if I keep dissecting every moment, then, it'll be just too much. However, for this, I paused it every 5 minutes. Stuff happens so quickly and at the same time
there's just so much dialogue that's fucking weird.
Yeah, exactly. You're like, what did he say? Let's just get into it, because the first note that I have, and this upset me greatly,
I know what this is
because Mark Wahlberg's name is actually Mark Wahlberg. His name is not...
so I didn't know where you were going.
I never knew his name is not W-A-L-B. It's W-A-H-L-B. So it's like it's written in Bostonian. Like his name
Wahlberg.
is written phonetically. It's Wahlberg. Oh, it's Mark Wahlberg.
Bada bing, bada boom.
Bada Wahlberg.
No wonder he changed to Marky Mark.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I mean, the first note I've got here, Mark Wahlberg's name is literally the second note I have. The first note is just lots of cloud.
Yes.
Because this film starts, like, the thing is, you're gonna start a film. Like, I get that you want to have because, then it says Mark Wahlberg because he featured in the film, whatever. Yeah. He's the lead. I get that you want to have the credits, you want to have, like, The Happening, you want to have Zooey Deschanel, you want to have Luigi, whatever his name is. You got to Steve Buscemi. You want to have, like, all these names of all these people that are in the film and everything. But just do something interesting with it. Don't just have a bunch of fucking clouds. Like, it's clouds for, like, 5 minutes. And it's doing nothing with creepy music.
And it's not even relevant to the film. If you just want to have like some serene backdrop so you could just put the credits over it, have the trees blowing. That's literally the premise of the film, not clouds.
Yeah, and like even then just make it like interesting, show people going about their day and then the tree but you've got like a bit of tree kind of to the side and it's like it's blowing a little bit and do something interesting, not just like clouds.
Don't know, mate. Clouds.
The full note literally goes lots of clouds. Mark Wahlberg, because that's when his name popped up. How many fucking clouds? Jesus Christ, can we stop with the clouds already, please?
Seriously, it goes on for so long. Because then it starts doing, like, executive producers.
Yeah, like, producers.
And then
financiers.
Producers. And then, like, associate producers. Like, loads of people. And you're like, just
the best boy.
Stop. Just stop it.
Who's on grip.
Yeah, literally. Like, just save it for the end. We don't care. We don't know who these people are. Just put it at the end. Stop showing me clouds. No, stop. Yeah. Stop. I've had enough. Stop it. Oh, no, stop.
What is happening?
What's happening?
But then, then we're just kind of straight into lots of people going about their day, just walking around, two random people sat on a bench. Two random robots sat on a bench because this woman literally like mechanically just looks up, turns to her friend and goes, "I forgot where I am," like in her book because she's looking at a book. Yeah. And then her friend's like, "Ha ha ha, you were at the bit with the killer who did this thing," and I was like, "What the fuck is this?" I get that you find out later, it makes people's brains go weird when they start getting infected and they either repeat stuff or they forget stuff, whatever. But like, just if you're reading a book, I don't care if you've got some infection going on in your brain by the trees. You don't you turn to the person next to you and you're like, I forgot where I am in the book. And they'll be like, who the fuck are you?
They'd be like,
stop talking to me.
They'd be like, I don't know, probably the page that you're on. You were reading it 2 seconds ago. You fucking idiot.
I'm not reading it. You're the one reading it.
I don't know you.
Yeah. It literally, it looked like either that she was a robot or it was like a setup for an advertisement. She'd be like, I forgot where I am. And then the woman's like, you should get this bookmark and take this tablet. Like it's literally felt like a setup for that because it was just so stiff. And then, everyone around them starts stopping and just standing there and it's getting all weird. And you always have, because they do this at the end again, like as we mentioned, shit goes down in France, but like everyone else starts stopping. And then there's one person who's looking around to everyone.
Yeah.
They're like, what's going on? What's happening?
There is but there's so many plot holes to this that
we would 100%.
We would take,
but it makes me wonder. Like, is it just like this person has a natural immunity or just like resistance, so they are going to end up turning that, but they don't immediately, or
they stood in the place where there's no wind,
the one
blowing.
blind spot.
Yeah, like so stupid.
It's just the only person out of everyone who's just stood there like, what's happening?
But yeah, she's like, but she's so fucking robotic as well. Because at first I was like, oh, here we go. She's being all weird. She's being all like monotone and stuff. And then the one that doesn't get the happening is like, oh my god.
Doesn't get happened on.
Did you hear that someone's screaming? It looks like they're scratching at their faces. There's blood.
Like glancing towards the camera and the director, like, is this the right line? Am I saying it?
And he's just like, I don't know, I don't care.
I didn't. Did I write this down? Oh,
I must have been high.
Yeah, and we I think then we go to a different location, and it's a construction site, and these guys he's telling that joke. I've heard it before about like, it's like a dick-sized joke, so. I'm not going to explain the joke. It doesn't matter. The point is, he's telling some like dumb joke, and they're all laughing about it, like ha 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 ha. And then somebody fucking falls from the building and just splats on the ground, and they're like, oh my god, it's Jeremy or whatever. And they go over to him, and his fucking limbs are like backwards. This guy is dead, and they're like, but one of them takes off his hard hat, kind of, because he's someone's like, taking off your hat and put your hand over your chest, like, oh my god. And I was like, there are things falling from the building. Do not take your heart off. You dumbass. Do you not work on a construction site? I know this guy's dead in front of you, and he's like your friend, and it's also like traumatic, but keep that heart out on.
And also at that point, they're like, he falls to the floor, and they rush over, and then this guy like checking his pulse, and he's like, give him some space, give him some room. It's like,
give him
dead.
some room.
You saw
to bleed.
He is dead. He is splattered on the. There is
because he called like the medic, and I was like, whoa. I don't think medic's gonna be able to help.
And they do it later as well. I know I'm getting a bit ahead of myself. Later on, some kid gets shot in the fucking head, and Mark Wahlberg runs over to him and like fucking checks whether he's breathing. He's got shot in the head, dude. He's dead. Let it go. But
there is no face.
But that's like, it's the first 2 minutes. I swear it's 2 minutes, and so much happens. You're like, fucking, like this was the moment where I was like,
build up to it. It just
this was the moment where I was like, oh fucking hell, this is gonna be a long one. I'm gonna have to pause and rewatch the first 2 minutes of this film. because it's just so insane. Like, the woman on the bench, she, like, pulls out a sewing needle that was for some reason in her hair and stabs herself in the neck. And I was like, her hair is still up. So the sewing...
Oh, she had two in. I did notice that bit. She had two of them in.
Oh, did she?
Yeah.
I didn't see it. No, I didn't see it.
You should have been paying more attention to what was happening.
I watched it twice. It looked like it was just done up in a bun, and she just was holding, just in case she wanted to stab her neck. She was carrying
just in
around
case,
a sewing needle.
But that was so, like, her friend didn't react to it as well.
Yeah,
like,
exactly, yeah.
She just stabs herself in the neck, and she's like,
She's like, oh, fuck. Oh, well. I'm going to find another way to die.
Yeah, and it is very... I mean, that is something as well, like, the way that people... Because it's the idea that there's this airborne thing that we quote-unquote don't know about, but honestly, all of the shots of the trees blowing, I was like, oh, it's the trees.
Yeah, literally.
5 minutes into the film. But, like, yeah, it's this kind of airborne thing, and then it kind of infects people and then makes them kind of go to the nearest possible way for them to, like, kill themselves. But there's kind of... People go about it in kind of weird ways, like, yeah, I don't know. Some of them are kind of strange.
It seems like it's an excuse just to have people killing themselves in weird ways. Like,
yeah,
sometimes
and it's, like,
just like
really creepy. And,
yeah, sometimes it's just like, oh, they're shooting themselves. And then some is just, like, really elaborate. Like, later on, there's a guy who, like, he goes up to one of those massive lawnmowers and sets it on, like, autopilot, and he, like, ties down the pedal and then, like, lies on the floor. It's like, just bash your head on a wall, mate. Just fucking...
I'm sure there's something sharp there. I mean, we're just now telling people how to kill themselves, but
don't.
That's what this film does to you.
Please don't. But yeah,
please don't. But yeah, and then what? I mean, there are some bits which I liked because I had seen this film before, like years ago.
I had not seen this before.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, years ago. So there are certain kind of, especially the more abrupt, like, deaths that I remembered from back then, and, like, back then thinking, like, oh man, that's really creepy, because, like, all the people just walking off the edge of the construction building and stuff, like, there are some good elements of, like,
unsettling, like,
it is unsettling at parts like that, where, because it's not nice seeing people kill themselves, you know, so, like, you're seeing all this kind of shit happening, you're like, fuck, because after that first guy falls in the construction site and they're like, oh my god, and then somebody else hits the ground behind them and he turns around and he's like, David. And I don't know why I found that funny. And then suddenly people just start like literally raining down. As they're all just like coming off this thing.
But then it's sort of just but then it just like hard cuts to Mark Wahlberg just teaching a class.
To Marky Mark, yeah, exactly. That's what
he's like, the bees. What's happening with the bees? They're all like, oh my god, they're gone. Oh, what's your opinion? And he's like going around asking kids like what they think happened to the bees. And then he asked one kid, his name's Jake, and he's like, this kid's Jake's like, I don't have an opinion, I don't really care. And Mark Wahlberg is just like, you should care, Jay. You know what? Your face is perfect. You're beautiful. I love you. I want to kiss you right now. Like, what? He just goes like, you should care because your face is perfect. It's like, hang on. Sorry.
Because this kid's like, okay, yeah. but then he's like, but your face is perfect at 15, which, by the way, that kid was not 15. But he was
he's like 24.
He's like, your face is perfect at 15, but, you know, your nose and your ears and things grow an inch every year or something, and your face won't be so good when you're older, so you better wise up and learn some facts about bees, because you're going to need it, buddy.
And the kid's like, okay, better learn about bees.
Oh, no, because it did that thing where it's like, he says it to the kid and he kind of gets a bit self-conscious and he's like, oh, and he's like, so come on, you know, have you got any ideas? And then Jake, the fucking philosopher-scientist, is like, could it be an act of nature and we'll never fully understand it? And like, yes.
Yes, it could, Jake.
You know, that's a whole lot of nothing, but it also sounds like, you know, not something that you wouldn't say.
Your character arc is just changed in the space of 3 seconds.
It's just like, oh, I don't know, maybe it's just an act of nature, and we'll never fully understand it. Thank you, Jake. But he goes around the room and, like, you know, he's getting suggestions from all the kids, like somebody says a virus or whatever. But, like, it's one of those really on-the-nose things where you're like, okay, I get that the film is, like, human bad. We need to be good to planet. Because they're like, could it be pollution? He's like, okay, could be pollution, blah, 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 but not, but, you know, he's kind of like going back and forth with them. And they're like, what about global warming? And he's like, well, we are pretty bad with that as well. Like smelly, stinky humans. You know, it's
just so on a note. Like, the whole like message of what the fuck, like, there's a message, but I guess the message for this is like, oh, don't be bad, be good to the environment. Which, yeah, for sure, be good to the environment, be good to the environment. But
all the trees will kill you.
But
make
it's
you
just
kill yourself.
Not like, it's such a weak attempt to
it's
be
just
like,
It's the kind of bad, like, taking an interesting premise and then not properly fleshing it out.
I don't know.
You know,
interesting.
Kind of premise. Like just running with it, and well, I mean, interesting as in, like, you know, there's this mystery of something that's making people kill themselves. It's quite a horrific, like, idea, and then just being like, well, it's the trees. And you're like, okay, and they're like, but I mean, how would you really? I don't know. We'll go with it and see where it goes. You know, and it doesn't really end up being. You know, but whatever. All I know is, you know, 9 minutes and 50 seconds in, we get the first, or at least that I noticed, the first instance of somebody saying, there appears to be an event happening. And I've put it in capitals, and every now and then, when we come across somebody saying that line, I will point it out, because I've noted them down every time that I notice somebody saying it, and I've put happening in capitals. Because, can I just say, I thought about it that much until I did the notes for it. What kind of fucking name is that for a film? What does it mean? The Happening? What?
What's happening?
What's happening? Also, how does that have it doesn't have anything to do with what?
It should just be called What's Happening. Because that's like, the characters also are like, what's happening? We don't
every 2
know.
minutes.
Yeah. What's happening in this film? M. Night, you haven't directed us. That's why our acting's so bad. What is happening? He's like, it's a message. It's a message.
Trees, isn't it? But I just, it has nothing to do with the film. Like, just call it Invasion of the Trees. I don't know. You know, smelly trees or something like that. But it kind of then events start happening, and it kind of, you know, everyone in the school is like, oh my god, I'm going to say what's going on. I'm not going to keep saying it. You know, what's going on, and all the teachers are kind of getting together because they're seeing reports of the stuff that's the stuff that's going on in I think it starts in New York,
and then
right?
They're in Philadelphia. Yeah.
Yeah. So it starts in Central Park. The way I remember that is because when they're talking about it, all the teachers in their big auditorium, and they're all having a kind of a conversation saying, you know, these reports are coming in and all this kind of stuff. And then when they say, you know, there's been a terrorist, because obviously they think it's a terror, like a bio kind of terror attack. And he says it's happened in Central Park. Just the way Marky Mark, is just like, again, some of the way he delivers some of these lines are so weird, because they say that, and he's like, Central Park? That's kind of odd.
Yeah.
I'm like, what do you mean that's kind of odd? Like, what? People were attacked. Yeah. Like, it doesn't. Wait, you want it to be in a different place? Like,
Central Park.
That's so weird.
Central Park, where there's thousands of people.
Is it like the biggest
That's
park?
kind of it's
huge.
It's huge in the middle of New York, and then he's like, "Why would there's so many people there? That's kind of odd." Oh, just like, what are you talking about? There's so many. I mean, we literally could have spent 2 hours listing all the weird lines, the weirdly delivered lines that they say. I had to turn on. I don't usually have subtitles on for Disney Plus because I don't like the way they do them. They're too big on the screen. Anyway, that's not mouse. I had to turn them on because I was like, what is he saying? Is he like missing out words? And he does. Like the subtitles tell you what he's trying to say, and he just like misses out words. Like, well, after he finds out, like, he thinks it's a terrorist attack, and he's like, okay, kids, go on, bye, go home. Like, I'm not going to tell you that there's been a terrorist attack for some reason. Find out yourselves.
Yeah.
And then, like, as they're leaving, he goes...
This is my next note as well.
He goes, like... Oh, so the subtitles say, he goes, hey, guys, oh, don't worry, it's nothing. That's what the subtitles say. But he goes... He just goes, hey, guys, no.
The students all, like, turn to look at him.
He goes like, hey guys, they all turn around, and he just goes, no. That's it.
Nothing.
No. They're like, whoa, that was weird.
And they will just leave.
Yeah, first he hit on that student, Jake or whatever the fuck his name is, and now he's just gone, no. Like, what?
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? And then also, like, later on, well, it's directly after that, because we're introduced to his best friend, Sid the Sloth.
Luigi turns up.
And he's like, I like math. But
that was an incredible combination of Sid the Sloth and also like a Sid the Sloth from fucking... Right, let me start again. Where were they from? Oh, Brooklyn, fuck.
Yes.
Why couldn't I think of the name? I'm not going to start that again. We'll keep that in. I couldn't think of their name. I was like, Boston.
Boston. No, that's Marky Mark. Mark Wahlberg from Boston. But yeah, he comes up to him and he's like, oh, my mum's fucking off her nut, mate. Let's go to my house. And for some reason, Mark Wahlberg's like, yes, okay. Let us go to your parents' house.
Yeah, it's like really quick where they hear that there's been like a bio attack in Central Park, and then they're like immediately like, let's drop everything and leave the whole play. They're not like, let's go back home, kind of see what the authorities are saying. Like, you know, it's kind of, that's awful. And the kids are going to have to, I mean, they send the kids home, I guess, but like, yeah, it just seems kind of weird that they're like immediately, let's get out of town.
But he's talking about like, he's saying like, oh, can Jess come too? And Luigi's like, oh, you know, I get a bad vibe from her. And then he says, he's like,
is that her name, Jess? Because I literally don't think I knew her name.
I keep calling her Jess because of New Girl. I don't think it is. It's Zooey Deschanel.
Oh, okay, right. Yeah. I just put Zoe because I didn't know what her name was.
No, it's not Jess. But like,
he says it a bunch of times later on. I know. Yeah, I just forgot her name. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Like, he goes like, sorry. Luigi's like, yeah, I get a bad vibe from her. You know, he's like, I got to tell you something. A best friend should never tell someone. And then Mark Wahlberg is like, why does everyone keep telling me that? It's like, who? Yeah. That's not a reference to anything.
Yeah, you haven't shown nobody us. Said that. Yeah, who else said that? Nobody else said anything like that.
Yeah. Have you cut out a scene? There's someone else who's like, oh, I gotta tell you something, best friend.
It's such an obscure, like, line as well. Like, all the kids in his class are like, sir, I'm gonna have to tell you something you should never tell your best friend.
Yeah. And he's like, oh, why does everyone keep telling me that? Oh. It's like, who are you talking about? This script is just so fucking bad. Like, we're doing this podcast. You and me, we love a bad film. We love to watch them. We just like them. This is just painful. It's just like, fuck me. It doesn't make any sense. The acting is just fucked. It's so bad.
It really is like so weird and stiff. But also, I think with the way that it's shot, like the kind of shot and reverse shot.
And sometimes it's really close to someone's face, which is, I've noticed because I watched old not that long ago, the new M. Night Shyamalan film. I think it's a thing that he does. He just suddenly decides that it'll be like shot, reverse shot, and it'll be a conversation. It'll be like Mark Wahlberg, Luigi, Mark Wahlberg, Luigi, and then it'll go back to Mark Wahlberg, and it's just his face. Like
it's just his nose.
Yeah, it's like covering the screen, just his face, and he keeps doing it in all his films. And I don't know why he thinks it looks nice, because it's just like, yeah, they're having a conversation. Yeah, it's all going, Jesus, why is he so close? Fucking hell, back up, dude. But it's so like...
He just wants to know what's happening.
What's happening? I'm so out of breath. What's happening?
And then, so then we're introduced to. Are we just going to call her Jess now? Is that going to be her name?
Yeah. Fuck it.
We'll just call her that. So we're introduced to Jess, as we said, played by Zooey Deschanel, who she's like, this like phone is ringing, and she's just really weird about it. It's kind of this. It almost looks like it's supposed to be a comical thing, but there's no kind of like. The rest of the setup around it isn't really comical.
Yeah, literally.
Because she's kind of.
It's just so weird. Like I don't understand her. Like Zooey Deschanel.
That's her name now.
I just don't understand her. Like, it's like she's playing in a comedy, but everything else around her is just not funny. She's all like,
it's like not tonally made to be funny.
Yeah, it's so weird. Like she gets.
That's why it does feel like a lack of direction. Yeah.
Yeah, literally, it's like she gets this phone call, and she's like so weird about it. She's like, I won't, or maybe I will. Like, and then she's all like shaking. And the phone's like, stuff.
On the table.
Yeah. It's just like, what is that, man? Like, and. Spoilers for the end. So I was like, oh no, this is clever. Like, what a fucking idiot I am. Of course it's not clever. But I was like, oh, this is going to be clever because she's been acting all weird like through the whole film. So at the very end, it's going to turn out she's been infected or something, and it's just going to take her a long time for it to, activate. She's going to kill herself at the end. But no. She's just weird and derailed all the time for no reason. Yeah. Like, it's so odd.
They have this thing where, so they kind of explain it, the reason that people are killing themselves. They explain it away as like, again, it's super quick. Like, bearing in mind, like you said, this was in the space of like a day. So they're like, so the human brain works with electrochemical things and blah, blah, blah. And we have lots of complicated stuff in our brains, and one of these things is our sense of self-preservation, where we would never endanger ourselves intentionally, blah blah blah. It appears that this neurotoxin, we can confirm, flips the self-preservation switch, quote unquote. I'm doing quote unquotes with my fingers, but you can't see them. Kind of flip this and then make you kill yourself, and you're like, okay, because the way they phrase it as well, because they say like, different neuro, this airborne thing that's infecting people, like, kind of triggers specific neurochemical, like, I don't know, reactions or something in a specific order that makes you do this thing. And you're like, I mean, yeah, okay, well, okay, I'll suspend my disbelief. We'll go with it.
They literally have a character later on that's like, his whole character is literally to be like, no, like this, it could happen, like this, it could happen. This.
Yeah,
this
they do a lot of that kind of explaining of. I've got a note on later of it, like it's clearly the writer. I mean, M. Night just being like, no, audience, believe me, like it's
this is believable.
We could stretch it enough. It's believable. Don't hate me. Yeah, I mean, I think that's when they all meet up to go to the train, right? Yeah. And it's all like the dialogue's all weird and stiff, and
it's just like so that scene is just so odd because it's like, so Zooey Deschanel is like, oh, I'm here, and then Luigi's like, don't fucking I don't like you. For some reason, I don't like you. And they just don't get on. And then they're like, everyone's mad at everyone. Like, I think...
she's mad at Marky Mark for talking about whatever their vague issue, quote unquote, is. Like, all he did was say, like, no, yeah, there's kind of stuff going on, and then Luigi's just like, she's gonna leave you.
Yeah.
So, like, she's annoyed at him because he vaguely mentioned something was going on. Like, he's annoyed at Luigi for having to go at her. Luigi's annoyed at her because he doesn't like her, and it's just like, calm down. And then you got the little girl who's just like,
what the fuck?
I don't know what's going on. What's happening?
But they each like walk off. It's like Jess walks off first, then Luigi, and then
it's like a play. Yeah,
Mark Wahlberg. But they're all going onto the same train, so you all just like have a well, I'll meet you in Philadelphia, and then she like walks off, and then Luigi's like, oh, you're nothing like Mario, and then he like storms off. And then so they all just get on, like, Mark Wahlberg gets on the train, he's like, hey, sorry, sorry, can I just get in there?
Because, like, so he just squishes past her. Because she said she wanted to go, like, sit somewhere else, but to, like, cool off and whatever, but I don't know, yeah, it's just kind of weird, like...
And then, because then, like, 5 minutes later, there's, like, I don't know, this happens quite a lot in this film. It's just, like, some woman is on the phone, and then she's like, "Oh my god, my sister lives in this place, and she says it's happening there.
Everyone listen to me."
And then everyone just suddenly is gathered around this one woman, and everyone's like on the train, like going like, "Oh my god, it's happening in Washington. Oh my god, it's happening, everything's happening." And then he just like goes to talk to fucking Luigi and Jess. Like, nothing happened. And if this... Because at first I was like, well, okay, it could have been, like, a few hours past. Like, it might be a really long train journey. But if this all happens in a day, what we see is basically face value. What we see is, like, real time. So they get on the train...
Because it's not even... When is it even night? When do they... They sleep at the old woman's house, don't they? So that's later on, So a lot happens in that one day.
Yeah.
While it's still light.
That's the thing. It's only ever dark when they get to that woman's house. It's light for so long. They, like, sleep for a bit, and that's the bit you don't see. Everything else, it, like, must happen within the space of 10 minutes each time.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, you know how in a film you're like, oh, well, we just saw that scene, so a couple hours have probably passed for the next scene. No.
Yeah.
There's no time. It just has to happen. So they get on the train. They're like, oh, I'm fucking mad at you. Some woman's like, yeah, it's happening in Washington or whatever. And they're like, oh my god, are you okay? We know. We're all forgiving each other.
Yeah, exactly, like,
fucking hell. And that was so dumb. Like, I'm getting a bit ahead of myself, but, like, the fact that it all happens in a day, why? Like, it just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't matter. It doesn't, like, it doesn't suit the story, you know. It's just a very short space of time for everything to kind of go on. And it's just so they could be like, oh wow, that's so cool, like, it was crazy and then it was all over in a day. Like, why just have it over 3 days? Why not? Like, it doesn't make a difference.
Pace it a bit, and you have this I've got another funny, like, bit of dialogue that I noted down when so before the random extra woman is like, oh my god, it's happening over here. What's her name? Zoe Deschanel is sat in her seat. Obviously, she's on her own, away from the others and stuff. She's talking to this person who you've kind of seen on her phone a couple of times. This guy Joey, who she's been like avoiding the calls from and stuff. And what she's saying is like, basically, leave me alone. All we did was eat some tiramisu. Right, and then that's it. But she pronounces it as like tiramisu. It's like, we ate some tiramisu. And I was like, it doesn't sound like it's just like an American pronunciation of it. It's just like tiramisu.
It's so weird. It's so weird.
Yeah,
and that whole thing is just like, I'm getting too ahead.
Again, it's just a point. Yeah. It has no point to it. But then, like. And they do dumb stuff like, they do the whole thing where one character's like, what the hell is going on? So that the other character, and in this instance, I mean, it's Jess that says that, and Marky Mark is like, she says, what the hell is going on? And he kind of looks off into the distance and he's like, I don't know. It's like, what?
No one knows.
Okay. Nobody, we know you don't know, okay? You're always asking what's happening, okay? It's like, we know you don't know, it's fine. Yeah, just, I've got a note here, I'm trying to remember when it happens. I think it's when he has to talk to the little kid for a minute, because Luigi is, I think, they've gotten off the train, they're in the bar or the pub, whatever. Everybody's like getting food and stuff because loads of people are kind of packed into this place. And Luigi's like, oh, I'm going to go and get this thing from the bar.
He says, I'm going to go get some milk, which I just thought was funny.
Is this some milk?
Yeah, he said,
he needs some milk.
I mean, I presume he's going to get it for the kid, but he doesn't say that.
Yeah.
Because he just goes, I'm going to go to get some milk from the bar. I was like,
all right, be right back.
All right.
I'm going to get some milk.
Puss in Boots, fucking hell.
Yeah. But I've noted down that Wahlberg just can't resist launching into science because he's talking to, like, this little kid's next to him and he's just like, he's trying to like cheer her up, and then he just starts talking about how, studies have said or something, blah blah blah, about like people in colors and like colors of emotions and stuff. I don't know. He was just warbling on about some bullshit, and then he's basically got his like, it's that ring that changes with temperature, right? And it shows you a different color.
He's bought a mood ring where it showed earlier. Yeah. So when they're packing, he's packing all his stuff, and he makes a point. A grown man, grown full adult man, makes a point to reopen his case, and he's like, "Shit, I've forgotten my mood ring," and he puts his mood ring, or he puts it on his hand or something, and it's like, he's a grown man. He's in the middle of a presumed terrorist attack. That's what they all think that's what they all think it is. And he's like, oh shit, better bring my mood ring so I know what mood I'm in. I'm a science teacher that believes that a mood ring shows me what mood I am. I'm really pissed off, but apparently I'm quite calm, so there we go. Yeah. It's blue, so I'm in love now with this stranger. Like, what a fucking idiot. That made me so angry. I was like, why?
Mood ring?
Yeah.
I mean, it is dumb, yeah. Like, it just doesn't... It did just seem weirdly out of place because they do the thing where, they assign a lot of meaning to this one object, and, like, he can give a backstory, and there is a backstory to it and all this kind of stuff, but it's like... No, it's like a plastic mood ring. I mean, when we get to, we'll talk about it later. Like when we get to the story of the mood ring, that did annoy me.
I was like, oh man.
I was like, ugh. But and then they're sat in this pub, right? And then this woman just suddenly is like, "Oh my lord, have a look at my phone, at this video on my phone." Is this guy this guy who puts himself? It's like a zookeeper puts himself in a lion enclosure and gets fucking eaten alive, but like. It's like a Monty Python sketch.
Yeah, literally.
Because he walks in, he's like trying to bait them over with his hand. They're all like lionesses as well.
Yeah.
And like kind of baits them over with his arm, and then they like jump on him, and you think you're not going to see any more because it kind of doesn't show anything. It just kind of jumps as if it's going to bite him. And then it cuts, because it shows Marky Mark like, oh my god.
Yeah, and then suddenly that bit's really funny as well, because she shows Mark. She's like, look at this. Look at this stranger next to me. Look at this video of a man being mauled by a tiger. And then it cuts back, and there's like a crowd of people around them, like all watching. Oh, yeah. I thought that was quite funny.
Yeah, and then it goes back to the Monty Python sketch, because the guy's like just missing one of his arms, and the lion's just tucking into his arm on the floor. But he looks like the Black Knight, where he's
literally,
"'Tis but a scratch," and he's just. I was just like, what is this? And then the other lion grabs onto his other arm and starts kind of pulling it a bit, and it comes off. And I was like,
why are you filming this?
Yeah, I mean, well, to be fair, I wouldn't be surprised people were probably filming on the other side of the glass. But it was just like, also, that's not how lions work. They, what I mean? They don't just kind of like bite bits off of whatever, they would tackle him down and kill him, and then munch on him. Like they're not just like, oh, grab this one. He's got his arm there. I'm gonna tear it off. It's so it's just so weird. Again, it's that thing of like they wanted to have some cool death. Like, oh, what weird ways can you commit suicide? Yeah. Oh, this guy's gonna go into the lion pit, and he's gonna go to this lion. Yeah. Just very kind of strange. And then it's not my favorite line, because I did make a note somewhere that I called my favorite line that I'll get to. But one of my favorite lines is where she was like, "Mother of God, what kind of terrorists are these?" And I was like, "Lady, those are lions." No, because obviously, they're talking about the airborne, like, oh, it's terrorists setting off these airborne things.
Yeah.
It's like she's just talking about the lions.
He's like, no, those are lions, lady.
I'll get your glasses.
She's like, oh, I thought that was true.
Oh, I thought that was the terrorists.
I thought they were the trees that were tearing him apart. God, that's awful. But then, sorry, just let's go back a bit. Why did they get off the train? Because
it's again bullshit.
Yeah, exactly. Because they're like, okay, we have to stop the train and everyone has to get off in the middle of nowhere. It's not like at the nearest station. It's just
some random small town.
A small spot in the middle of a field. And like, everyone get off! And they're like, and Mark Wahlberg's like, where are we going to get off? And then, he's like, we've lost contact with everyone, so everyone has to get out of the train. Like, why? Why is that your reaction? Go to the nearest station. So in the real world, if you're on a train, right, you're going to London, let's say. Yeah. If their radios go down if there's just like a problem with that train's radios, they're like, "Stop here! Everyone, get off! Get off now! Walk! Yeah. Just walk! Bye.
We're in the underground.
Yeah, walk! Goodbye! Radio's gone. Goodbye!
I wish you well."
You can't just leave it. Goodbye! Goodbye!
Good day, sir. You get nothing.
He just gets back in the train and drives off. They're like,
and then drives off again.
You're driving off. Goodbye.
Couldn't we just go? Nope, just me. Bye.
Radio's gone.
Yeah.
I just thought that was just so fucking stupid. I was like, really? Yeah. You couldn't have thought of a better way for them to need to get off the train? Like, come on.
Like bodies on the tracks or something.
Bodies on the tracks, or like just. The train's going to Philadelphia, then there's an attack on Philadelphia, and they're like, shit, we'll have to stop the train, we can't go to Philadelphia. Any number of other reason, not just be like, radio's gone, got to get off it, just get off, mate.
Because as well, it's the dramatic thing where they're like, look, we lost contact with them, and then he's like, with who? And then they look at him, and it's like, and he's like, everyone.
Yeah, because your radio's broken.
Yeah. Yeah. The guy next to him's like, you could just borrow mine, I've told you. And he's like, no, everyone. I press this button and nothing happens. Everybody is gone.
It's battery powered,
Your
dude.
batteries,
you just got to change it. It's double A's, two double A's. I've got some.
You took them out. You put them in the TV remote. He's like, everyone is gone.
But sorry.
Yeah, because they're all in this restaurant, right? And you've got the bit on the news. I think maybe that's when on the news they say, like, I'm not sure when they say about, it's the switch or whatever. No, because I think at that point is when they're saying about like the affected area, and it's all on the
all on the map.
It's like all East Coast kind of like, I don't know how big of a area.
Well, it's like from the top of Maine to about Philadelphia. That's where it goes.
Yeah. So this whole kind of like area, and they've got all of the little pinpoints on the map of like where the cases of these kind of quote unquote terrorist attacks have happened, and then wherever they are, they're like, well, where are we? And some guy points to like basically dead center of the thing, and he's like, dead center, and then they kind of have that thing where some person shouts something and that spreads panic. Yeah, they're like, oh, we all gotta get out of here. It's only 9 miles out to the border or something.
No. Sorry. I have to say this because this is a note that I have. He said 90 miles.
Oh, 90?
Yeah, 90 miles.
It's only 90 miles.
Because later on, he's like, oh, we've only got 10... he's like, oh, I think it's Mark Wahlberg or something. He's like, come on, we can make it. We're only 10 miles from the border. So that means in that day, they travelled 80 miles, mostly on foot. And it's just like, fucking hell. Like, come on. Jesus Christ. Yeah, sorry, that was another bit that was just like...
They rode the tree winds, to get further along. But it is... I get that, like, a lot of people probably just... Because they were on the train... Like, a lot of the people in the restaurant, I mean, were people from the train, so it's not like they would have their own cars and stuff.
Yeah.
It's just kind of weird, like... As soon as everyone starts piling out, they're all just, like, jumping in other people's cars and driving off and, like... Just being like, take me with you, and all this kind of stuff, but then there are just loads of other cars not coming from the restaurant, like as in cars coming out of the city, and they're just driving past, and everyone's trying to get in cars and stuff. And I was just like, where are your cars? There's some people there must live, like, and then there are some people who don't pick up anyone and they just drive off. And Mark Wahlberg's like, why would you leave this? But again, I do wonder whether there was supposed to be any comical elements or not, because you have a shot with Zooey Deschanel on one side, Deschanel on one side, Marky Mark on the other of like the camera, so they're on the two like borders of the camera, and the camera's facing the restaurant they've just come out of, and Jess says, because they're kind of talking about it or whatever, saying like, oh, we don't have a car. And she just goes, there's a car. And then a car just pulls up in front of them, like from the side of the screen. But it's weird. Like, it's so weird. It obviously if it was a comical thing, then it would work. But it just seemed really like redundant. She was like, there's a car. And it pulls up in front of them like instantly. Yeah,
that's the weird thing as well about the cars.
And I was like, yes.
Because like... So, like, Mark Wahlberg, I guess he's done serious stuff as well, but he's, like, he has very good, say what you will about Mark Wahlberg's acting in general, but generally, he's decent at being comical. He's got quite decent comedic chops for Mark Wahlberg. Zooey Deschanel is a comedic actress. Like, that's what she's known for. Even John Linguini... Well, I'm not going to attempt it. Luigi.
Yeah,
he's done.
He's in the Super Mario Brothers.
He's done serious stuff, but he's a comedic actor. So it's so weird that it's just not a comedy. Like,
yeah, I do wonder whether they changed. It up a bit.
That's what it feels like. Honestly, it's so odd. Like the performances of everyone in the film is just so weird. Like,
yeah.
There's a line as well, because it's at that point, right, that Luigi's like, I gotta go find my wife, I gotta go find Mario.
Yeah, because she's... yeah, he's got off to... I actually put that... I said Luigi's actually going off to look for Mario. Yeah, because she's gone to, like, Princeton, right?
Yeah, something
Or she's in Princeton or
She's
something.
in Princeton, and she's gonna go... She was going to go meet them in Philadelphia, and then obviously she can't now. And he's like, I can't get a hold of my wife. No email or nothing. I was like, who the fuck is checking their email in the middle of this, like, terror attack that, like, everyone's scrambling to get out of there? They're like, oh shit, hold your breath, it's the wind. Hang on. I've got a new email. Let me just check my...
Hi, Luigi.
yeah.
Hope you are well. Yes, I'm fine. I'm just on my way to Princeton, currently at the moment. So I will see you there. Kind regards, your wife, Mario.
Sent from iPhone.
Sent from my iPhone. Yeah.
Like, fucking. I was just like, what a weird thing to say.
Yeah. Just so many bits of dialogue like that.
And it was,
talking about dialogue at 27:35 around this time, when because she's like, "There's a car," and the car pulls up, and the couple are there. I think it's the couple because who say this, but they're like, where are you going? And they were like, "We're heading wherever this isn't happening."
Yeah. Brilliant.
Got him. There's another one.
There's so many.
There's more later.
But yeah, like, Luigi's just off the fucking rails at this point. Like, he's like,
have my daughter, I'm going to go find my wife who's probably dead and I'll probably kill myself.
Yeah, and he's like, here's Zooey Deschanel. Like, I gotta go find my wife. Please look after my daughter. And she just goes like, yeah, okay, I'll take care of her. And she, like, grabs her hand. And then he, like, stops Zooey Deschanel because he doesn't like her or something. And looks her dead in the eye and goes like, don't take my daughter's hand unless you mean it. Yeah, I do. I just said I was going to.
You just asked me to.
Yeah, and I said yes. Why would I be like, oh, no, I was joking. We're going to leave her here. Like,
on second thoughts, you just take her with you.
Yeah. There's enough room. She could.
I was just going to leave her like in the restaurant. So that's a fair point. That's a good point.
Just like Sam.
Yeah, it's just kind of.
It's the dialogue. I think the dialogue.
It really is.
It's like, and we'll talk about it more late at the end when we give our reviews. But I think the dialogue is none of it's good. But the dialogue is honestly the worst thing. It's like they just didn't even try. They did like one take of every line and that was it. They couldn't be fucked.
Yeah.
It's just so odd.
Yeah, it's so weird. And then, because then we've got, the Team Marky Mark go with this weird couple who are just like weird for no reason because So they say that they're going to be heading out, but they just need to pick up a couple of things from their house. Yeah. So then they go into the house. You get a little bit of time for Mark Wahlberg and that to have a look around their kind of green room with all their plants and everything. And then the guy kind of steps in and he starts talking about hot dogs. Like, it's just this random guy and he's just like, you guys like hot dogs? Hot dogs get a bad rap. The shape is really good and all this kind of
protein.
And I was like, What? Why are you talking about this? And it literally has no relevance to anything ever. Literally. He's just going on about hot dogs, and then
later on, it does have relevance. Because later on, he eats a hot dog.
He does eat a hot dog, yeah. Because his wife comes to the greenhouse, and he's like, "Did you get the mustard?" And she holds up the thing, like, yeah, don't worry. I was like, this guy is a little bit too. What is it? A hot dog's the cure to. I suppose do we ever see what happens to him? I don't.
Yeah, he.
He's with that group. He's with the group. Yeah. But yeah, so like then I realized that he's the exposition hot dog man. He's not just the regular hot dog man, because then he's the one that's like just out of nowhere. He's just like, do you know what I think? I think that all of this is happening from the trees and the plants because they can detect humans and he's like stroking all of his plants and being like, Daddy's gonna be back soon, and all this weird stuff. And they're just like, why did we get in the car?
We'll just walk. Thanks very much.
And he gives Zooey Deschanel a look when he asks her, do you like hot dogs? And she's like, nah. And he does this kind of, it's this look that's as if to say like, oh, somebody's gonna die then. You know what I mean? As if the hot dogs are what is gonna like save them. I wonder if that's a dropped like plot point. He was like, the trees are causing people to kill themselves, but hot dogs.
Oh god!
Hot dogs. You see, they have the right inhibitors to block and fight off the trees, and then it's just like the rest of the film is them throwing hot dogs at trees.
Could you imagine if it's like it turns out that he's like, because at the end they're like, oh fuck it, I want to be. They're separated or whatever, and they're like, oh fuck it, I'm going to kill myself so we can die together or whatever. Could you imagine if he was like, but first I'm going to eat this hot dog. Walks outside and he's like,
it's like Popeye eating spinach.
Yeah, it's like, wait a minute, the hot dogs. And it just like goes off some bullshit science.
He gets covered in like hot dog sauce. Not sauce, you know what I mean? The hot dog,
the
like
brine,
the brine, whatever. Yeah. He just gets covered in it, and he's like, "This is the answer. It's the exact chemical." Or like they've got the hot dog, like a fully done hot dog, and he's like, "It's the specific combination of the bun, the hot dog, and the ketchup and the mustard on the top. It's the perfect inhibitor against the trees."
Quick, call the president.
And then all the trees cower in fear. They're like, no!
They all like shrink a bit.
Oh,
stupid.
Man. It's just so weird.
But they do like, so they come across, what is it? They come across, it's like a derailed, like, army guy. He's like, don't go that way because there's a bunch of...
I was going to say, before they come across that guy, we cut back to Luigi.
Oh,
right?
yeah,
Because he's in the car with those other people who are heading towards Princeton, and they make it there, and they find basically loads of people just they've hung themselves. There's loads of ladders up to trees. That's one thing that's another bit of imagery I remembered from when I saw it when I was younger, because again, it's a lot of people hanging themselves. Like, it's pretty bleak. So you're like, fucking hell. Like, there's certain little bits where you're like, if the film was done better and it was kind of made in a way that is like really shocking and really makes you kind of think and be like, oh fuck, this is really hard hitting, then it would have been really good. And I think scenes like that, they would have worked much better in that sort of film. But yeah, like seeing that, I was like, oh fucking hell, because then they're trying to like make sure no air can get into the car, so they're kind of covering up everything, and because they're worried because they realize everybody's killing themselves and the town's infected and whatever. But I was like, I mean, it ends up that it doesn't matter because there's like a hole because it's like a fabric roof, and there's like a scratch kind of hole in the top, like a small one that Luigi notices, and he like realizes that they're all fucked. But I was like, cars aren't. You can close the vents and whatever, but they're not.
They're not airtight. Yeah.
They're not airtight, and that is, I think, one of the biggest loopholes throughout the whole thing. Is at no point do they ever go anywhere that is airtight, and they're holding up in this house. Somebody's killed themselves outside, so the toxin's outside. They're like, oh god, and then I'm like, you should be dead now, because it's not airtight. You're not in like a vacuum sealed kind of thing, you know.
But it's just the rules of this just are so instantaneous, like, as in, it's just the rules fit with whatever's going on at the time. Because they just, it's like they wrote it, you know, as they went along, they as they wrote it. Because it's like, so after that, so fucking thingy kills himself, whatever, because of Luigi. And then it cuts back to Mark Wahlberg, right? And they see a bunch of bodies on the floor, and they're like, oh shit, there's a bunch of bodies on the floor. Let me go out and check. And they just get out the car. He's like got some binoculars.
Because they're not that far away. Like it's like M. Night didn't understand how wind
up the
works.
Road. And it's just like, oh what? So they're stood in this place, so it's fine. And it happens again. Like they split off later on. Okay, like so they we'll get to it.
We'll get.
But it's just like it's so bullshit. Like it's just
it's just
stupid.
It's this weird idea that, like, you know, they establish for some reason, somehow, all plants and trees and bushes have all suddenly evolved this ability to produce a neurotoxin that causes people to kill themselves, and it's triggered by human kind of stimulus, as they call it. So the bigger the group, the worse it is. But it's and so, you know, there might be in a field, but they're like, oh, only part of the field has like activated and sent off this neurotoxin. And part of it's fine. And you're like, yeah, but, and this whole thing about the wind, and you're like, yeah, but you can't escape that. You can't outrun the wind.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not how it works.
The wind is like, you might not feel it, but it's always blowing. The wind is constant.
Ooh, that's nice and deep.
Like, so there's
the
like, we gotta
always blowing.
there's a bit later where they're like running from the wind, and it's like following behind them. Like you can see the plants and stuff like rustling behind them, and you're like, it's still wind. It's still there. And in the background
right now.
Yeah, and in the background he didn't bother to green screen it, whether. So I could see trees in the background blowing. So there's wind everywhere. It's so dumb.
It's just so dumb. It's so dumb. But that brings us to my favorite line in the film, which is when they're heading back from that town where they've seen all these bodies. This is the main group, Marky Mark and that, because Luigi by this point is already
he's dead.
Crashed the car and cut his wrist up. And the best bit is when they come across this soldier who like pulls up in his Jeep, goes over to them, and he's kind of a bit nervous, and he's like talking to them, and then they tell him, because he says to them about the fact that, you know, back at the base, people were killing themselves, and then they're like, yeah, we've just come back from this place where there's loads of bodies everywhere. Yeah. And he's like, oh, cheese and crackers.
Yeah. And it's like, what, you can't swear in this film? Like, he's showing someone getting run over by a lawnmower.
No, I was like, this wholesome boy.
He's like, oh, goodness gracious me. Cheese and crackers.
Gee, golly whiz. It's like that, you know, that video of the kid who's like, mother trucker, dude, that hurt like a butt cheek on a stick.
Yeah.
He grew up to be this man.
It's all canon.
Yeah. It was just like cheese and crackers. I was like, wow. I mean, hey, maybe that's the local saying around there. I don't know, but
so I
just thought it was weird.
They come across like a bunch of people, like they all gather in this one like crossing in the road, right, where the soldiers and whatever. And then this woman, like, she gets a call from her daughter who's in was it Princeton that they went to, where Luigi kills himself? Yeah. So she's like, oh shit, everyone's dead outside. So he sort of realizes that he's dead.
Yeah,
and,
which is funny because before, when they're in the car, Zooey Deschanel turns to Luigi's kid and she's like, I'm sure he'll be all right. He'll be okay. And I was like, meanwhile, he's sat there on the road fucking killing himself.
Slitting his wrist.
It's like, oh, that didn't age well.
but he's like, this woman's talking to her daughter, and then suddenly, she's like clearly going to kill herself because of the gas and stuff. And Marky Mark is just not helping in this. Like, this woman's daughter is about to commit suicide, like this awful traumatic experience, and like he's like, "What's happening? What's going on now? Wait, what's she talking about? Give me the phone. I'll talk."
Yeah, she gives it the phone because you hear the kid fucking throw herself out the window and the glass, and the mum's like, ah, like screaming. Wahlberg takes the phone from her, like puts it to his ear, frowning, as if to say, like, what was that? What was that sound? Is this is very strange.
How did she do it? Like,
like it's so weird.
And then it's so this is my favorite line, and for the wrong reason, because I think it's a bit later on, because they decide they can't go any of the roads, and they still think it's a terrorist attack, right? So they're like, oh, we'll just walk over the fields because the terrorists won't attack the roads, even though it's an airborne virus.
Yeah, exactly. They kind of reasoned like, oh, there's a small like town that's not on the map or something, like a little county kind of thing that's not on the map, so we'll head there. We'll just walk there through, you know, wherever. And by the way, at this point, 42 minutes 38, somebody says, I think it's the army guy. He's like, whatever's happening is happening to smaller and smaller places.
Oh, good. Oh, fucking hell. So stupid. But yeah,
Kara, I think I know what this quote's going to be.
He goes like, they say, oh, we're going to go walk across this field. We're going to split into two groups. There's a group that are just ready to leave now, and then there's a group that are going to get stuff from their car and then they'll follow behind or whatever. So there's two groups.
Which is again a kind of bullshit. Like, they wanted them in two groups for some reason, so then they
literally.
It's just kind of weird,
fucking stupid. And then you find that like Mark Wahlberg's smaller group is behind. They got stuff from the car or whatever, and then just slightly up the road on a field or whatever, it's like the army guy and a bunch of people. And then, lo and behold, they're a bigger group, so they get blown on by the wind, and then the guys
some of them are arguing, I think, as well, which is, I think that's supposed to be the, like, two people in the group start arguing with each other, and that's when it happens. So I think that's that's the kind of point of it being like, oh, aggressive human beings.
Oh, right, yeah, okay.
The plants don't like that.
Fuck's sake. So, the rules... stop changing the rules. Yeah. Anyway,
the rule.
And the guy does like, I kind of like this bit actually, where it's like the soldier guy does the
my gun is my friend or whatever.
Yeah, the Full Metal Jacket thing. He's like, my gun is my friend. I was like, that's cool. But then like you don't see it, but you hear it cuts back to Marky Mark, and they hear a gunshot. And then they hear another gunshot, and then they hear another gunshot, and they sort of
because it was primed like earlier at the beginning, where you see a police officer shoot himself, and then obviously he's dead. You see somebody else then go and pick up his gun and shoot themselves. So it's like everyone's just shooting themselves.
And then they realize that it's like, oh shit, the toxin's got them, and the subtitles are meant to say. It's Mark Wahlberg, and he's meant to say, is it the toxin? Like, what's happening? Is it the toxin? But instead, go to 46 minutes, 11 seconds, and you can hear Marky Mark go, is toxin? It just made me laugh. I played that back like 4 times. I was like, did he just breathe the line and then say is toxin? I'm sure I just missed that. Oh no, wait. He literally just goes, is toxin? It's fucking stupid.
Yeah, because I thought you were going to say the way he says, oh no. Because I think he goes, because he just goes like, oh no,
it's
toxin?
Yeah. That's the best bit of the film.
The people with him are like, yes, is toxin.
They're like, oh no, it's affecting him too. He's lost all speech again.
Yeah. Like, it's... and then you kind of have this, they all decide they have a bit of a weird kind of back and forth. They're like, oh, we got to go help them. And then, no, we got to run away.
Yeah, from the wind.
From
the plan
wind.
is to run away from the wind. Literally,
the quote I've got noted is Mark Wahlberg saying, just stay ahead of the wind.
The wind.
And I was like, okay, genius, try again. The wind, and then of course, and as soon as he says that as well, you kind of whenever it's the bad wind, whenever it's the like, when it's always broken wind, you hear you hear the kind of like, start up, right? So then, as soon as he's like, let's just stay ahead of the wind, and then as soon as he says that, they all turn and they look towards where the gunshots were, and then you hear. Because the wind was like, oh yeah, oh shit, this is my cue. And then you see, and then it's when the trees start suddenly being like, whoosh, whoosh, and they start shaking, and then everyone's like, ah!
Oh, it's so fucking stupid.
Because I was just like, wind doesn't work like that.
Yeah, and is it at that point where they realise like, oh, we're in a smaller group, so they literally, it was so dumb because they were like, oh, we can't outrun the wind, we're getting blown on, and then. Literally, they don't kill themselves, so Mark Wahlberg is just like, it's because we're in a smaller group. It hasn't detected us. It's like, fuck off. No.
Yeah.
It's just so...
And it's also at this point, at 48 minutes 38, that somebody, I'm assuming Mark Wahlberg, says, could this really be happening?
Great. Oh, there's so
and then they're like running for their lives from the wind, and then he turns to these 2 kids that they're running with them, because at this point it's just 2 kids, Mark Wahlberg, Zooey Deschanel, and then not their kid, but Luigi's kid.
Essentially their kid now. They've
essentially their kid. They just they were like, yeah, we'll take this kid, sure. But they're like running for their lives, and he just turns as they're running, looks at the kids, he's like, what are your names? And I was like, what? Yeah. What? Okay. They were like, I'm Jake and I'm James or something. They had like very, very similar names.
Yeah.
And then they go to like a model home in the middle of nowhere, which is kind of weird. I don't know. They seem to make it sound like it was in the middle of nowhere. It was like a fully model home. Like everything was plastic and fake. And it took them a while to like figure it out, even though it says model home in the front. They do have, I did like the joke where somebody like Mark Wahlberg's in this room. They're looking for, what are they looking for? They went there for something. They were trying to find like something. I don't remember what.
But did they just go there for shelter or something? Or like no, they didn't. No, they're looking for food. That's what it is.
Was it just food, or was it something? Yeah.
Maybe. No, it's food because later on they go to another house, and we'll get to that in a sec.
But he's looking around in this office, and then somebody is talking to him, and then leaves, and then he looks up and realizes there's like a big potted plant in the like a floor to ceiling plant just in the corner, and it's like, you know, shaking a little bit, which is weird. But he's just like, oh no, and then he starts like talking to it, trying to like, he's like, hey, I'm just trying to give off some good vibes here, and all this kind of weird stuff. And then he realizes it's like a plastic fake tree, and he's like, it's a plastic fake tree. I'm talking to a plastic fake tree, and I'm still doing it.
But it's so out of place, though. Like,
yeah, but that's why I feel like it could have been.
Yeah, exactly.
It used to be a comedy.
Yeah, literally, it's the only thing that makes sense.
Comedic element.
Because
maybe they had like a test audience, and then none of the comedic things played well.
Yeah, so they're like, oh, just make it a horror. Even though it's M. Night Shyamalan.
Just put some like over the top of it, and then yeah,
it's so weird. But that, like, it's just, they go to a model house literally so it could be like, oh, it's a plastic, like, it's literally just for that.
Yeah,
weird
probably
joke.
just for that. Yeah, probably. Yeah.
But that bit doesn't make any sense because
no, they were looking for a map. That's what it was. I knew they were looking for something.
Oh,
he said that they were going to go there to look for a map.
Yeah, because there's a map in a model home.
Like, yeah, because they didn't realize it was a.
But they find one. They find one in the model home.
Oh, I see. Yeah. That's true.
Stupid. But like in that bit when he sees the plant and it starts blowing, or it starts moving, and that's why he's all like, "Oh my god, it's happening!" You know, the wind, it's happening, and then
it's happening.
Yeah, but then
it's gonna happening me.
I was like, okay, so it turns out it's a plastic tree. Fine. Where's the wind coming from? Why was it blowing?
Is there a wind open?
So the window's open anyway?
Window?
So you're like, oh, thank God this plastic tree isn't a real tree. Anyway, I'm going to kill myself now because the wind's blown at me and, you know, I've been exposed to it.
Oh, yeah, true.
Fucking stupid.
Because they do kind of, again, they sort of explain it later, but it doesn't hold up for other things because he says about how, like, oh, the neurotoxin's only potent kind of, like, it has to be released close to you, otherwise it disperses in the air and becomes, like, no longer effective, basically. And it's like, okay, but also just everybody's, like, nobody can kind of escape it, and then it's not just going to dissipate, like, super quickly. Like, if you're close to it, it will still get you. It's just very, like, shaky.
It's just so poorly, like, thought out, and just, it's just so stupid. Like, and here's another plot hole for you. So they get the map, and they're like, oh shit, the young, our daughter now, is like really hungry. She's really young. She needs something to eat. So they find this like sort of rundown shack house. And they're like, please, it turns out there's someone in there, and they're like, hey, please, can you please give us some food? We just want it for this little girl, like, and then we'll be on our way. And they're like,
which by the way, before they like go into the house, there's a line where he's like, because they're gonna break in, and then Marky Mark's like, "That's not what we kind of do. We is that who you are now? You want to break into this place?"
Yeah.
And then he's like, "Oh, it looks like no one's lived here for a long time anyway." And I was like, "So why would you assume that there's food there?"
Yeah.
If nobody's lived here, literally in the space of 2 lines, he's like, "But there might be food here." Yeah, but you want to break in?
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't look like anyone lives here. So why would there be
no
food there?
Yeah. So fucking stupid. And then, it's like, it turns out there's like a couple people in there, and they're like, get away from the house. Don't open the windows. We
gotta get rid of that terrorist toxin.
Yeah. But they put, and the thing is, like, one of them opens the door and shoots one of the kids, and then one of them pokes a shotgun out of like a hole in the shutter, and then shoots the other kid. And you're like, oh no, these 2 random kids that we've literally been exposed to for 3 minutes. Like, who cares? But they're like, don't expose us to the toxins. There's holes in the fucking house. Yeah. Like, the shutters are like...
America.
Yeah, it's just
fuck
like,
yeah.
fucking so dumb. It's just.
It just doesn't. Yeah, it just doesn't. It's almost like a student film where they don't have the budget to like cover. Everything, so they just set it somewhere, and then they're like, it doesn't matter. People won't really care.
Yeah. People won't notice.
Yeah. Because then the guys in that house just kill kids like it's nothing, and then they're fine with it.
Yeah,
and then
and
then the other guys just kind of, they move on, they go somewhere else. It's never mentioned again. Like they go to they go find another house, and there's this old woman there who's like just looks really creepy. And I'm surprised that like they're all sat at the table, and the kid reaches for a cookie on the plate of cookies, and the I just call her grandma just because she's that old, but like. She might not be a grandma, but the granny like smacks her hand, and she's like, "You don't take things that don't belong to you," or something. And I was like, "Is Mark not going to do something here?"
Yeah,
like,
would he be like, "Hey,
Mark,
that's
just be like, hey, excuse me, lady, but that's not your kid to discipline."
Yeah, like I know we're in your house, but that's not acceptable.
But don't lay a hand on not our child, but this child.
Like I do like. The only unsettling thing for me in this film is that because this woman is like really weird and creepy, and it's not really explained like why she just is for some reason. But
because it's not like she's gone crazy at that point from the thing. She's just she's as Zooey Deschanel described in her great line where she said, "There's something exorcisty about her."
Yeah, I mean, true, to be honest.
Yeah, 100%.
But she's like, she's not getting on with them and stuff. I'll circle back to it. But like the next morning, they go to bed, and then the next morning, he's like, "Oh, hey, old lady, where are you? Like, or where is everyone?" And,
old lady.
Yeah. And he's looking around, and he opens a room, and there's like a fucking creepy as shit doll. Like in a room, just laying on the bed, and
like matching the same clothes that the old woman was wearing when she went. And to then sleep, she's like, because it was like this creepy white night.
Yeah. She's like, "Don't touch my Jezebel" or something. Like she's all weird.
You're here to steal my things. and to murder me in my sleep.
Yeah. I was like, that doll is actually very creepy. Like it's way creepier than Annabelle. Like, they should have used this fucking doll. I was like, oh, fucking hell. But yeah, that she's all like, she doesn't trust them. They're all like whispering, saying she's like, she's all exorcisty and stuff. And then she comes up to their room and she's like, "Oh, you planning on murdering me?" And Mark Wahlberg.
It was not convincing.
He's just, like, I don't know why he says it like this, but he's like, "What? No." Like, what? Like, nah.
I read that.
Dude,
it's just like, no.
Yeah, like,
I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't murder you in your sleep. If you were asleep and I had a knife in my hand, I wouldn't murder you with it. What are you doing?
Literally, that's my favourite part of the film. But it's just like, wait, why? One, why did he deliver the line like that? And then two, why did they choose to use that take? Well, assuming they did more than one take. But why did they not say, like, why did you say it like that? Like, you're not going to kill her, so why are you making it suspicious? I feel like the direction,
maybe the direction was just like, say it in a really weird, unconvincing way.
And Mark Wahlberg's like, why?
Yeah.
It's just like,
Mark
just do it!
Mark Wahlberg was like, why? I wouldn't do that. And they were like, yeah, perfect.
Yeah, perfect.
Are we rolling? Did we get that? But yeah, it's just weird, like, because the woman, the kind of idea with her is that she doesn't know what's going on because she keeps isolated from everybody. But it's like, okay, so she lets them stay in her house, but then is paranoid that they're going to kill her. So I was like, why let them
literally like
into your house? She was scarier before she got infected. Because then after she goes outside, the trees blow a bit because she stood in her little allotment plot thing, and then starts talking about the Lord being a shepherd or something, I don't know, and then walks up to the house and starts bashing in windows until she dies.
That's fucking stupid though. Like, it's all questions from here basically, but fucking. So she gets possessed because she goes outside, right, and then she gets infected. But is she being controlled by the plants? Because she chooses to kill herself by bashing in all the windows so the wind's getting into the room, and Mark Wahlberg's running around. Yeah. It's does she she's just chosen to kill herself by bashing in on the windows? She was next to a sharp fence. She could have bashed her head on the wall. She could have done any number of things, that she just chooses to run around the house and bash her head through a window. And then that's one, and she's not dead. So she goes to the next, instead of picking up the glass like we've seen other people do and using that, she's no, I'll bash the other window. Make more.
There's still one window left.
Yeah. Just fucking
yeah.
God.
It was, and again, I made another note at this point about things not being airtight, so doesn't really work.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
close the door and stick a jumper at the bottom. The air's going to get in from different places. Although at 1 hour, 15 minutes and 36 seconds, somebody, again I'm assuming Mark Wahlberg, turns and says, "It's happening here." God damn it. And you just, it's kind of the wrap up, nearly, because they've got this kind of he's in this room in the house that has a pipe in it that leads to this outhouse kind of thing,
that Zooey Deschanel's in with the kid.
Yeah, that Zoe and the kid are in, and he can hear them through the piping. They can hear each other really well. So they're sat on either side, oh, this is so crap. We're gonna die here, and blah blah blah. And then they have the whole story about the mood ring, and it's just one of those dumb things where they're hey, you remember that first date? And I bought you this mood ring, and she's ha ha ha, and you told me that purple meant that I was in love, and he's ha ha, yeah, and then she's it just meant, we looked it up, and it actually purple meant that I was horny, and he was and he was ha ha, yeah, that was funny, and then she was oh man, this is sad, I wish you were here, and then even though neither of them at this point are dying, they have they still have their sense of self-preservation, even though, again, the rules are really shoddy and they are definitely not airtight and they would have been affected any second. But he's just I don't want to die here on my own. I want to come and die with you. So I'm going to get up and come towards you now. And I was but you're safe now.
Yeah.
And presumably it's kind of the most safe place you can be, so maybe, you will get infected, but you're leaving the possibility of safety, and not just for yourself, but for her and for the kid. He's so certain we are going to die that he's okay, well, fuck it, I'm just going to go out and walk among the trees to go to you and have to open the door to get to you and definitely kill all of us.
Yeah, and also just hold your breath. He's I gotta walk over to you. It's 100 meters.
Yeah.
Just hold your breath.
Hold your breath.
Hold your breath and run. Go into the house quickly, quickly close the door. It's not airtight anyway, so it doesn't really matter, does it? And he's
yeah.
I'm gonna die with you. And then he just gets there. He's I just held my breath. This whole film, we could have just held our breath for a bit. Be fine.
My note is exactly like this. It says, Mark Wahlberg is I am currently safe. You are currently safe. I'm going to kill us both now in the name of love, and also the orphan child that you have with you.
Yeah.
And then Zooey Deschanel is yeah, let's do that. That's a good idea. And then brings the kid with her, because they both meet each other halfway.
Oh god, the fucking mood ring made me so fucking angry as well.
Because I was
he's I love my mood ring. It tells me what mood I'm in. And then said the whole thing about I bought it for you on our first date, and that's why it's special to me, and that's why I have to carry it around at all times. What a fucking shit gift on a first date! Oh hey, do you want to go get a coffee sometime? Then we can walk around the county fair. That's the only place I can think where you'd get a mood ring from. And then it's just hey baby, here's this mood ring. She's like, wow.
I saw you eyeing up that mood ring over there. You want me to spend a little bit of the old dosh?
She's like, no, I wasn't. I just looked down for a second. He's like, I bought you this mood ring. I'm going to carry it with me
in that useful item over there. This cool thing over there. And he's like, I bought you the mood ring already.
And it's just like fucking...
That's why he wears it instead of her, because she didn't want to...
She's like, I'm not fucking wearing
It's
that
like, how you remember when I got you this mood ring? She's like, how could I fucking forget? Are you kidding?
You wear it all the fucking time. I keep asking you to take it off. And then you say that makes you angry because it's turned yellow. Like, fucking twat. They're having like an argument and he's like, I'm not angry. I feel sad.
Or he's like, they're having an argument and he looks at his ring and he's like, wow, see, you made me angry, now look.
No, he's like, wait, stop arguing with me. I'm happy, see? Everyone's happy. I'll put it on you, and because your hand is the same temperature as my hand, it means the stone isn't going to change colour because that's how it's actually working. It's blue. We're all happy. Everyone's happy. Yay. And I was just like...
he leaves it on the side and it goes like red and he's like, I'm angry.
Yeah. She's like, you're bipolar, mate. Fucking hell. And it's all due to this fucking ring. It's like, I don't know, like, would you... what do we come across other people in this film and they've, like, kept... You know how people win a teddy for their, like, partner on their first date or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, let's go to the fair and I'll win you this giant teddy. And then this global, like, you know, assumed terrorist attack happens and like, quick, let me carry around this giant teddy bear because it's what you got for me on my first date.
Yeah.
It's just like, why is this sentimental to you? Like, your wedding ring?
It's very
is that
surface.
not better?
It's just kind of dumb.
It's fucking...
Yeah. Because are they actually... They're married, right? Are they married? Or
Yeah, they are. Because he's wearing a wedding ring.
Because he said about,
and he
like,
said it, yeah.
At the beginning, he was like, you're going to divorce? And he's like, well, probably not.
Yeah. It's fucking...
Yeah, it's dumb.
Oh,
she was like,
God.
yeah, you tried to... I can't forget the mood ring. You tried to give it to me as my wedding ring.
Yeah. No, I was like, no. We're having a real wedding ring. He's like, can't we just, like...
The priest was like, sir, we can't do that.
It's like, can't we crush it
the
up?
Mood rings.
Can we crush it up? Put it in the ring? Have the mood ring? She's like, no, we cannot.
I made you a diamond and a mood ring. Or like he gets to it, she's like, oh my God, is this a real diamond? And he's like, there's like a too long pause, and then he's like, it'll change colour depending on how you feel. It's like, fucking another mood ring? Why did this one look like a real diamond?
I've thrown the other mood ring away like 4 times. You keep digging it out in the trash.
Yeah.
Like, just going... One time, it went all the way to the dump, and you went there and searched for 3 days just to find this fucking mood ring. Leave it. It's
like,
fine.
Yeah, and it was happy.
Fuck's sake.
But, I mean, that's pretty much it from there. I mean...
Yeah, the only other note I've got is fucking the fact that it's revealed it happened in a fucking day. The whole film.
Yeah. And it's like morning to morning, basically, right?
Yeah, literally. They just... It's like...
It just happened to, like, stop at the exact time that they decided to kill themselves. And then
they're like, let's be all romantic and kill ourselves. Oh, it stopped. Oh, yeah, don't worry about it. Stop.
Oh, you can have your mood ring back.
Stupid. Fucking
it's so funny thing is when it's kind of like the epilogue type deal where you're like, okay, this is them now in the slight future and they're all doing good and
like
kids go back to school or whatever and it's all good. And then he passes, there's like a shop which says on it, Open Pine Deli. And I just love this idea that everybody just kind of bowed to their plant overlords and the plants just like took over and they just appease them now.
Can I offer you a pine cone tea? And then they're like, I don't know, is that offensive or is that good? Are we meant to use that properly?
Like,
I'm sorry. Yeah. Oh no, tip it away.
You need to recycle it.
Would you like some vegetables with that? I don't know. Is that good? I don't know.
Because then at the end you have like the TV and there's a scientist who's talking about it and he says the same line that the fucking kid says where he's like, because they're saying, you know, some people believe it might be this, some people believe it was this, but in reality, what is it really? And then the scientist was like, it was an act of nature, and we'll never fully understand it. And I'm like...
And that scientist guy is fucking coked up as well. He's like shaking and he's talking like so fast. He's like, I never really know. I don't know. Just like, fucking hell, dude. Jesus.
He basically just didn't want to think of a reason, wanted to wrap up the film. Literally. It's like, it doesn't matter. None of this matters.
God, it's so fucking.
And then the fact that then the scientist was like, I think this was just a warning. You know, the trees were giving us a little taste of what would happen if we crossed them, or something. It's kind of implying.
Yeah, like what for a day?
Yeah, because that's
why.
So the trees have a hive mind, sentience. And they're like firing off some warning shots at the humans, like, well, mess with us and see what you get, you know. And for some reason, they have her being pregnant at the end, even though that has nothing to do with anything.
Yeah, literally.
And then I guess it's like, oh, they fixed their marriage with a baby. that's it, you know.
That's it, yeah.
And then the very end thing is in France. I think it was France. Same sort of thing. Everybody's walking around, and then one of the people keeps repeating the same line, and the other one's like, what? Like, what do you say? In French, he's like, well, you know, what are you doing? This is weird. And then he hears somebody scream, and he looks around, and then people stop walking and start walking backwards and doing all the weird shit. And then, and again, he's not affected at first, and then it's like, oh, and it continues.
Yeah.
You're just like,
And also, if they worked out, why does it happen again? Because if they worked out that it was the trees and it was a toxin released by the plants because of how badly the planet's being treated, that would be the biggest warning sign to everyone on the planet. Everyone would be like, fuck. Everyone stop what you do right now. If we don't sort out global warming, we're
trees
all
are going to kill
to die. Yeah, and then
in the space of a day.
Yeah. And everyone's like, oh, I'll just drive to the shops. Like, fuck it. I know the trees are bad and everything, but fuck it, I'll just drive, you know.
Yeah, whatever. I only pass a couple trees on the way to Aldi, so...
Yeah. I know I could recycle, but fucking... I'm just gonna burn this plastic, fucking... Just these 3 tons of plastic, I'll just burn it. Just this once.
Just this where?
I'm just gonna burn plastic. You know, I was just like, why is it happening again?
Yeah, and that's the
fucking film.
That's the film. That's the film.
Angry. What's your opinion? Bad film, good?
I mean, bad film. What is happening? Hey, did it one last time. Probably not for the last time, though. Probably do it again before we finish. I mean, that's it. Just bad film, not good.
Yeah, I was first of all, I was like, bad film, fucking shit. Like this, it made me so angry. Like, bad, every part bad. The acting's terrible. The plot is terrible. The premise is fucking terrible. But this is M. Night Shyamalan, the genius.
I know.
So I was like, he's always got some fucking twist, and there's always some secret message. So then I was like, this film is weird. It doesn't make any sense. The people's acting's weird. It's making me confused. Maybe this film is meant to be terrible, so I feel all disorientated, and I feel like I'm getting the thing. The happening's happening to me. It's happening. And now I care, now I'm gonna be better to the environment instead of just, making a good message.
He's a goddamn genius.
He's a genius! Spoilers, that's not it, it's just shit.
It's just shit. It happened. It happened.
It happened and it was shit.
Happen is over now.
Oh, good. Alright, do you want to read some reviews for the film?
Yeah, I've got just one review today that's quite a nice coherent one, I think, to start with. So it's from Tanapat Tea, or maybe Tanapat. I don't know where the emphasis goes on that one, but they're 4.5 stars out of 5, I believe. And I will read it as it's written, and it will confuse me, and I might slip up over it. So it says, "The happening was underrate for that moment the movie release. For some reason, when the time passed, the movie proved itself that the issue in the movie was related with the environment for now. It's so creepy when the issue in the movie is just deal the bee extinction facts in 2020. And I've got to say, that's a pretty good take. There's some some good points being brought up in there.
Were there?
It does deal the bee extinction facts in 2020. It was underrate for the moment the movie release.
I feel like we've got very similar reviews, because mine is 10 out of 10 from IMDb, obviously. It's 10 out of 10 from PVS 9898. This was in February 2012, so not too long after.
I don't know when mine is, but I'm assuming it's recent because he said 2020.
Yeah, it must be. Unless he's predicting the future. But anyway, the title is It Just Happens. In this world, no one accepts the reality. This movie shows the reality. If you're saying the logic is missing in the story, full stop, that's not fair, full stop. Nature is the real rule, and if we harm the nature, why not nature can change the rule? In brackets, e.g. global warming. Good point, I think.
Good point.
Do we really know, and then apostrophe, who is the creator of the universe, end apostrophe, not quote, and the answer comes no. Likewise, no one knows what will happen in the future. It just happens. The world will not destroy in 2012. We are destroying it. That's the reality shown in the film. The true advice by M. Night Shyamalan, take it or leave it. Thanks to M. Night Shyamalan, I'm expecting more movies to come. Just think about it.
M. Night was like, read this review. I was like, oh man, I was gonna hang up my hat.
Yeah, but
this was gonna be my swan song, my send off. The happening was gonna be my greatest work of art to date, but you have convinced me. Just think about it, M. Night. And he did. He did.
And then he made Old. We should really do Old. It's so fucking
We should have
bad.
a look.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about it.
Yeah. But yeah. Look, we talked about some dumb shit, some really fucking dumb shit about the film. But should we talk about some real life dumb shit?
Oh, hit me with that real life dumb shit that is happening.
Hey! I don't know. Brilliant. Well, so I'm going to do something a little bit different, just because when I was trying to find what's Shrekking in the news this week, I was looking at different news articles, and I came across BuzzFeed. Now, BuzzFeed is notorious for just making the weirdest shit articles and fucking quizzes, but some of these are just fucking, like, what are you fucking on? How are you getting paid to write these fucking shit articles? So I've got some titles of the articles that I thought were just funny and I'd read to you. The first one is 31 things under £10 I think my dog would ask me to buy her if she could speak.
That's like the scrape at the bottom of the barrel. It's a really slow news day, and they're just trying to think of something for the deadline.
Literally, and it's like the fucking the quiz ones that are just so irrelevant to anything. It's like, you definitely have something in common with Ariana Grande, so just choose some cookies to find out. How are they? How are they fucking related?
What is that?
Exactly. What is this shit? Like, this one's good. Unfortunately, you probably won't pass this geography quiz if you've never been to Europe. Like, unfortunately, who cares? Oh, shit, I didn't pass a BuzzFeed quiz. Fuck.
Yeah. If I haven't been to Europe, if I have.
Yeah. If I've
then make way.
We live in Europe.
Yeah.
We're going to pass it. Like, quick, do it.
Oh, my God. Send me the link.
This one's good. Choose 12 of your favourite celebs and we'll accurately, in brackets, and surprisingly, guess your birth month.
What? But you know that hooks some people
Yeah,
in.
literally.
I mean, like, and the fact they have to put, and surprisingly. It will be surprising, believe us.
This is the last one, and I liked it because it kind of like got it breaks the fourth wall of BuzzFeed. Like, they know it's fucking stupid because it's like, okay, so it's not an official science, but we know when you'll meet your spouse based on the dating profile you make. It's like, okay, it's not an official science, but we know. We know. Pick some fucking cookies.
We have access to the entire timeline. We know.
But yeah, that's it. Just a little...
Just a funny...
Some stupid stuff. I thought it was fucking... fuck's sake, BuzzFeed, But yeah, that's about everything we've got for this week. Next week, we're going to be doing Pixels, which you can watch on Amazon Prime. Can't wait for it.
Another great Sandler classic.
Yeah, heard only good things about it. But if you want to keep up to date with us, you can follow us on Instagram at badfilmgood, all one word, lowercase. If you want to send us your own real dumb shit, you can send us an email, badfilmgood@gmail.com. The best thing you can do for us, we'd really appreciate it if you gave us a 5-star review on your chosen podcast platform, or
tell your friends.
Tell your friends
what's happening over here on the Bad Film Good podcast.
Oh, fuck's sake.
It will never end. Relentless.
So that's everything. As always, we'll just leave you with an inspirational quote from a Spirobot that's randomly generated a quote and slapped it on top of a random image. Do you want to do yours first? Or
I'll save mine, I think, for last.
Well, this one is is actually just a famous inspirational quote because the picture is of Albert Einstein, and it's one of his most known. It's one of his most known quotes, which is, of course, "They who force robots challenge the crabs."